Hello and welcome to round 12 here at Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. Maria Bartholdi joined by Kenji Igashira in the booth. Aaron Rubin, your lone undefeated player in the building at 11-0. Stephen Pierce at 10-1. His opponent, let's kick things off with a jousting lance from Aaron Rubin. Stephen Pierce is going to have a corrosive ooze. Well, that's a well-timed corrosive ooze.
That jousting lance doesn't do so much work versus ooze. The nice thing is, even if Aaron attacks with some ground creature equipped with the ooze or the lance, you know, it'll kill the ooze before the ooze can kill the creature, but the lance would be destroyed at end of combat.
Corrosive ooze getting in for 2 knocks Rubin down to 18.
Yeah, we saw Aaron's deck in a previous round. It looked like a better version of Seth Manfield's deck.
Sure.
Black-white. We saw, I believe, Lyra in his deck, in addition to a few other of those nice ones. But Pierce, though, Pierce not a bad list himself. We were commentating in it 2 rounds ago.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, he's got 2 Grund, Teferi, 2 times Urza's Ruinous Blast, Tatyova, Marwyn. Just a nice Bant legendaries. Not something you commonly expect, but.
Feld Soothsayer on the table for Aaron Rubin. Marwyn, the Nurturer for Stephen Pierce, who's just needs to keep his legendary count high, basically.
Yeah, most of the time I think of Marwyn as a poor Llanowar elf, but again, with the double blast, I mean, a good reason to play it.
Soothsayer hits the red zone for Rubin. And Windgrace Acolyte here will gain him back some life. We're going to mill 3. Pitches 2 lands into the graveyard and a fungal infection.
Yeah, Rubin's missing that double white right now, but hopefully that doesn't hurt him too badly. Looks like Pierce has got all of his mana that he needs.
I feel like Stephen Pierce has that Urza's Ruinous Blast in hand as well.
He does have 2 in the deck, but.
Grun pulled to the front. But we're going to play a Mammoth Spider here and pass the turn back over to Rubin.
Yeah, no reason to just blast off, even though he could cast it. You know, make Aaron commit a little bit more to the board. Maybe make Aaron use a removal spell on the Mammoth Spider would clear the way for Grun later on.
Windgrace Acolyte's going to get in for 5 in the air here.
Yeah, and now the fact that Aaron didn't do anything might prompt Pierce to actually pull the trigger on the blast, even though he doesn't want to. He just developed out the Spider.
Spider gets in for 3. Pegasus Courser here from Stephen Pierce may be signaling that we're going to wait a little while before we start blasting.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see an actual chump block here from the Courser if that's his game plan. Now, if Aaron, say, had a fungal infection, we saw him mill 1, and he was going to use that on the Marwyn, man, that might potentially blow out Pierce. Yeah, especially if Pierce is chumping here at 13 life. It's only 5 damage. You might be like, okay, well, that's a little weird.
I agree. Banalish Honor Guard here for Rubin, so Pierce probably tempted here to get his value.
Yeah, the good thing for Rubin is that he gets to actually draw 2 cards in response to the blast, if that should be the thing that's going to happen.
Oh, tried to play Grun here.
Yeah, it doesn't actually have the mana to kick Grun. And I like this setup. If he was able to kick Grun, sure, into a Ruinous Blast, well, that would win the game. But looks like he's a little bit mana short.
All right, so just past the turn back, leaving Mammoth Spider back to block the Windgrace Acolyte, hoping to get another creature here.
And again, this smells real
Yes,
fishy,
this is very fishy.
Pierce has chumped 2 turns in a row now, even though he could have afforded to take some damage. So I like this pass from Rubin, who might not even have any gas anyways, but now he gets to hold up 3 activations of the Soothsayer.
Yep, and here is Urza's Ruinous Blast. Take a read of that. We're going to destroy non-legendary, non-land permanents. Soothsayer getting hungry here. Pay 2 to sacrifice a creature, draw a card. Usually it's eating up little saplings, but in this case, you know, things could be worse for Rubin.
Yeah, when all said and done, the blast is only going to be taking care of the Jousting Lance, as Aaron was able to convert his creatures into cards. And I think Aaron's probably a little bit happy about this.
All right, so Yavamaya Sapherd here from Stephen Pierce, and Marwin getting in for 1.
I mean, and now Ruben just can
basically
dump his hand. Pierce does have another Ruinous Blast in the deck somewhere, but not extremely likely that he would have it here.
Looks like he's considering playing Evera. Survives a second blast.
Sure, it definitely would. And, you know, versus Bant, you're not too scared about what they can do in response to you activating the ability on the Evera.
All right, here is the kicked Grun.
Funny enough that Evera can actually fight with the 10-10 Grun currently. Not so much with the 20 power Grun should it attack alone next turn, but like both players are obligated to block if the other attacks with their largest creature.
Stephen Pierce from down here in Texas, Plano, started playing Return to Ravnica and is a huge gamer. He has 4,000 followers for his dog on Instagram named Zuko. You can follow at Zuko Doodle. We tweeted a link out to it. Very cute dog. Aaron Rubin, a Californian living in Austin for the last 3 years, playing competitively for the last year and a half.
Oh no, the Drudge Sentinel. We were talking about this 2 rounds ago. That's the perfect answer to the Grun.
Oh, Drudge. Just shut down that Grun.
Wow.
Adventurous Impulse here for Pierce.
Yeah, unfortunately for Pierce, we might actually just see him offer the trade of Grun for Evera. Okay.
Oh, wow. Deep freeze on the Drudge Sentinel. Haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, he's getting aggressive here as opposed to using that on the Evera, which is still a forced block for him.
Grun coming in for 20. Lonely and mad about it. All right. Drudge Sentinel down. Llanowar Envoy follow-up play here for Pierce. Gets a counter on Marwin from that.
There you go. I think there are 4 or 5 other elves in the format, so not too much synergy with Marwin. She's just an okay rare. Legendary.
Vicious Offering and Gideon's Reproach in hand currently for Aaron Rubin.
Yeah, I mean, that lets Aaron attack with Evera again if he wants to. Steven might be tempted to make a double block here, as remember, Evera only changes the power, not the toughness.
All right, and here's a swing with Evera.
Is he contemplating a triple block here? This is going to work really nicely for Aaron if it does.
Yes.
Now, on the surface of things, Aaron could just offer the 3-for-1 if a triple block is made, but the 2 tricks here are going to kind of get Steven.
Considering which trick he actually wants to use. Vicious Offering will take down the Envoy.
Well, he's going to have to use both here.
And Gideon's Reproach incoming. Marwin goes down.
Let's swap my life with Evera's power for now.
I'll gain 1 billion.
Oh, he's only going to gain 4 in the resulting overall, right? He's still just going to go up to 25. So it's basically as if he didn't change the power and toughness at all.
Oh, sure.
In regards to his life total anyways. Of course, Evera is now a huge creature. Oh, my.
Oh, bounce.
Okay, so the nice thing for Aaron here is that he can just take a hit for 20 if he has another follow-up creature.
Oh. Ever goes 3rd down. Did he put his hand on top of his library by accident?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have call a judge here to resolve this. But yeah, we saw the minus there from Teferi. -3, put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top.
Quick, easy fix. Yeah, I think he only had one card in his hand at the time anyways. So if that last card in Aaron's hand is a creature, he doesn't have to block it, which is nice, because again, at least he gets to kill the Teferi. Oh, I think he had a land in his hand, so he was banking on.
Really?
Yeah, okay,
wow.
I like that. I mean, he's playing to win, right?
Right,
and
sure.
Like, just leaving back the Mesa Unicorn and letting the Planeswalkers stay on the battlefield is not going to win you the game.
So Teferi falls to that Mesa Unicorn, attacking Cabal Evangel here for Aaron Rubin. We'll be able to block that Grun unless Stephen Pierce can find something here. Found off this Adventurous Impulse, he finds a Zahid, Djinn of the Lamp.
Yeah, no double blue yet from Pierce, and no artifact to play for the alternate cost, so...
Oh, here we go. We found some good chump blockers.
Oh, what did he draw this time?
He's got Rite of Belzenlock in hand.
Ah, that's perfect. Okay. Wow. Each chapter on the saga is going to buy him 2 extra chumpers. That was a great draw. And you know he's drawing the Evra next turn as well, so... Yeah. This is actually not looking too bad for Aaron as long as Pierce doesn't draw an island, which I think he just did. Okay, so he's going to draw the Evra for the turn. He's going to get 2 tokens. Yeah, I think it's still anybody's game, really.
All right, here comes Evra back to the battlefield. 2 more clerics join in Chapter 2. Back over to Stephen Pierce. Aaron Rubin on 9 life.
Yeah, but has 6 power of lifelinkers currently on the battlefield. I don't see too much action in Pierce's hand. This is the only good turn that Pierce is going to have an attack with a Zahid. As soon as the 6/6 demon enters, it's going to give him some issues. 2-turn clock on its own.
Not much outpowers Zahid in the air, but that demon is one of those things. So a cleric here going to jump in front of Grun. Aaron Rubin will take 5. Down to 4.
Yeah, and if Pierce doesn't have a good follow-up play here, I think Rubin's going to take this in a few turns. It's going to be close.
Can't quite see what Steven's last card in hand is. All right, passes the turn back over to Aaron Rubin. Chapter 3, here comes the demon. Reminder on top of his deck to sacrifice a creature, else that demon's going to deal 6 to him.
So I think you definitely attack in with both of your creatures here, because if Pierce doesn't have anything, then the demon itself is going to be lethal next turn, which means Zahid is going to have to chump the 6/6 flyer.
Wow.
And you still have those 2 clerics to block the Grun. Not only that, but he's going to gain 6 life, go back up to 10 as well.
No need to swap the life total with Evra's power. It was exactly the same there.
There goes a demon. Or rather, the cleric.
Cleric falls to Grun.
That's what he had in his hand, a second Grun.
Grun number 2. Okay. Vigilance.
Yep, Vigilance. 9 mana Vigilance.
All right, so he's got to sacrifice another creature there.
But yeah, when your 5/6 flyer has to chump, you know things aren't going very well for you.
Stephen Pierce down to 5.
And so I think he's contemplating attacking with the Evra and then trading it with the Grun, which I love. I think that's a good play. Because it's an obligated block on both of these creatures if Pierce has nothing. So we'll see a swap of the power.
Swap the power here.
And again, he's effectively going to gain 4 total life, but more importantly, he's going to get the Grun off the battlefield.
Okay, both of Stephen Pierce's creatures hit the graveyard. Oh, how would you like to play a Lyra Dawnbringer as your follow-up here?
Evra should be gone. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Evra's dead. Back over to Stephen Pierce.
Wow. And now he can't even ruin his blast because he doesn't have... Wow. Oh, it doesn't matter since Lyra is a legendary anyways. Nice. Aaron
Rubin taking down game 1 here in his quest to remain undefeated at this tournament over Stephen Pierce and his double Urza's Ruinous Blast draft deck.
Yeah, and you know, it was all about that turn where he decided to take a risk, kill the Planeswalker, and then hope to draw something the following turn, you know?
That was cool.
Because if he doesn't make that attack there and Teferi stays on the battlefield, I think Pierce is probably just going to out-card advantage him.
Adventurous Impulse here as we kick off Game 2. Aaron Rubin versus Stephen Pierce here in round 12. This is the final round of our first draft of the day. Just going to choose a forest. Manowar Scout here for Pierce. Benalish Honor Guard for Rubin.
Sydney Townley to the red stage. Sydney
Pegasus Courser,
to the red stage.
one of the early favorites for White Common.
It's not like amazing in Pierce's deck, but if you're able to fly a Grun, that's not too shabby.
I like to imagine Grun riding on the back of that Pegasus.
Poor Pegasus.
Yeah. A glider here for Rubin. Pass the turn back over to Stephen Pierce. Divination, draw a couple of cards. Finds 2 islands.
Okay, so the Scout's actually going to get some use here.
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw Zahid in his hand as well, so Pierce is actually going to be able to cast a turn 5 Zahid.
Not bad.
I see a Vicious Offering in Rubin's hand.
All right, we're getting in here. Aaron Rubin's glider and knight hit the red zone.
So Rubin's obviously representing some kind of trick, fungal growth, the Vicious Offering we were talking about, Adamant Will, something like that. So Pierce has got to take into consideration, well, do I want to get that combat trick or removal out of Rubin's hand right now to, you know, maybe let the Zahid get through a little bit easier? And this is actually going to work out well for Pierce if it's Vicious Offering that Rubin's going to go for. It's just, if it's just fungal, then that's a huge blowout, unfortunately. But
yeah. And he still has 2 Vicious Offerings in hand as well.
Oh, he has 2 Vicious Offerings.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Double
trouble then.
All right, the Envoy is able to put, or the Scout's able to put a land into play.
Yeah, and Pierce is going to feel confident. He's going to run out probably the Planeswalker if he doesn't have 2 plays.
Envoy comes out, Short Sword comes out. Scout's going to hold the sword here.
Okay, interesting. Opting not to go with the large 5/6 flyer. I think I saw it in his hand. Didn't he have that?
I think so. Fun fact here about Aaron Rubin. Only lost 1 game in day 1.
Ooh.
To Seth Manfield. That's insane.
Who he then beat in, what, round 10?
Yeah. Glider gets in for another 2. Thallid Soothsayer for Rubin.
A little soothy.
You know, I've said it correctly every time, and I'm so proud of myself.
Oh, you know what? It doesn't look like a Zahid in his hand anymore. Maybe it was the Divination that I had saw, but yeah. Well, in that case, Rubin is just completely crushing Pierce here.
Thorn Elemental.
That's a pretty good one. In conjunction with the Vicious Offering, though, the Soothsayer will be able to just eat that, and yeah, Rubin just gets to keep poking in for 2, while Pierce, I mean, we know he has a lot of powerful cards in his deck, but notably right now 2 Urza's Ruinous Blast are uncastable.
Yeah, and Rubin's just been on 4 lands this whole time as well. Mesa Unicorn here. Little nice life-linking 2/2.
Yeah, with Pierce living off the top of his library, I think Rubin is going to feel pretty confident in just blocking the Thorn Elemental with the 2/3 and then, say, sacking the Saproling to Vicious Offering to give it -5/-5, if Pierce is going to make an attack without moving the sword. That Short Sword does change the math a little bit, but even just blocking with both of his 2/2s instead of the 2/3 and then saying, well, what do you got, Pierce, you know?
All right, here we go. We're going to move this sword over to the Thorn Elemental, and the Envoy is going to join in
this
combat.
Seems right. A slight maybe misstep from Rubin here. He could have blocked the Envoy with the Saproling token first and then gone for a double block, unless he's going to make a trade with the 3/2 anyways. Okay, so I think he's just taking 3 unnecessary damage, but I mean, he's still got the Thorn Elemental off the battlefield, and he's still in very good position, so not too much lost there.
Haven Sentry, I believe, was a draw for Aaron Rubin. This glider is just doing some work. Gets in for another 2. And there's a sentry to add pressure in the air. And not much going on Stephen Pierce's side of the battlefield, although maybe that's a mammoth spider.
Mm-hmm. But you said Ruben has another vicious offering in hand,
does.
right? So.
Yeah. All right, there's a spider. It's going to carry a sword.
Yeah, and that stops the vicious offering from straight up killing it should it be kicked, but Ruben can still make an all-out attack and just sacrifice any one of his smaller creatures if he wants to try to get through the spider. Especially with Pierce tapped out and 1 card in hand.
Right. Things looking pretty good here for Aaron Rubin. Life totals at parity, 12-12. And Evra in hand as well. Though still stuck on 4.
I like it. Yep.
Here we go.
Ship the team.
Yep. Everybody in. Spiders. Got to block this sentry.
So as a 4/6, Ruben's not going to be able to just unkick, or rather normally cast the Vicious Offering, unless he has, well, another trick. Okay, this is awesome.
Fungal infection. Yep.
So not only is this going to let the Mesa Unicorn eat the Scout, it's also going to give Ruben a good sacrifice creature for this Vicious Offering.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah. Ruben's still going to gain the 2 life. Pierce is going to take 4 damage, fall down to 8, and now with just a 3/2, maybe a 4/3 should he equip the sword, Pierce is looking for basically runner.
Yeah, all of Ruben's creatures survived that combat as well.
Okay, that's 1 good runner.
Okay, here we go. Land.
Yes.
A plains. All right.
Draw. Gains a life, draws a card. Wow, and that now turns on any Ruinous Blast, plus Tadiova herself going to, of course, dig Pierce deeper and deeper. Very good draw.
Envoy gets in.
Yeah, I like turning on the gas.
Tatiova carries a sword. Ruben at 10, Stephen Pierce at 9.
2-turn clock here for Ruben still, but yeah, I mean, Pierce has one of the cards we were talking about that he needs to draw.
Yep.
I'm not even sure I would run out the 2/2, as it doesn't really put too much more pressure on the board, and you know that Pierce has Ruinous Blast. You already have lethal in the air anyways.
All right, we kicked Grun the Lonely King here.
Well, he's just dead on board,
yeah.
So.
You got to send a signal. Oh, yeah. Aaron Rubin rubs his hands together.
All right, tapped out, 5 damage in the air. How much life are you at, sir?
There we go. Aaron Rubin taking down this match here in round 12 versus Stephen Pierce. 2-0. And there you see our players having a little chat after their match here. Both still very good records, and Aaron Rubin, the lone undefeated player, remains undefeated here in this building, advancing to 12-0. Notably, Seth Manfield had a 2 losses with his deck,
okay.
So you were a little off on your estimation of him going 2-1, so he is out of contention for top 8, but still a lot of people in the mix. We'll have more Magic for you after this. Hello, welcome back to the booth here at Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. Maria Bartholdi joined by Kenji Igashira, and we're about ready to watch some time walk action from round 12. We are drafting today. Welcome today, too, if you're just joining us. We've already had one draft this morning, and we're about to do another draft after we finish looking at some of our time walk matches from this round. We've had a lot of cool stuff happening down the feature match area. Kenji, has what you've seen lived up to your expectations of what you're going to see when you watch draft this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. The most interesting by far, I think, was Matt Severa's 19 land deck.
19!
But, yeah, I haven't seen 19 lands in Limited in a long time, but, I mean, his deck can support it as long as he draws, you know, those relevant cards, so.
And he was running 3 colors as well.
Right, exactly.
And had plenty of places to put his mana, including 2 Slimefoot. So that was cool to see. And the double Urza's Ruinous Blast deck, I've never
that one was
seen
nice too.
Such a thing as that. So that was pretty cool. This time we're going to check out Vikram Kudva versus Jack Dobbin, both on 10 and 1. So let's check it out. Friendly handshake before the match gets underway. Kudva on the left side of your screen, Jack Dobbin on the right. Kudva, a couple of forests versus blue-white from Jack Dobbin. Dovnant Trapper from Dobbin to start the game.
Yeah, Dobbin's deck we saw in an earlier round is just trying to kill the opponent pretty much as quickly as possible. A lot of ways to get evasive creatures.
And here, example number 1, Arcane Flight on this Trapper. Let's play another Trapper.
Double Trapper. So now any historic card that Dobbin plays is going to, well, potentially tap up to 2 of Kudva's creatures. And, you know, a Territorial Allosaurus is a good creature, 4 mana 5/5, but any artifact, any historic card here, and he's just going to push in so much damage.
As it stands, just going to chip in the air for 3. A Serra Disciple is a follow-up play. Kudva already down to 12.
Yeah. This game is... so the triumph of Gerard here is good, but it's going to be a little bit too slow. Of course, when the last chapter of the saga hits, your creature is going to gain lifelink in addition to that flying and first strike, but it's not going to be good enough. He just can't race Dobbin's board right now. He has to leave back his 6/6.
Wow.
And the issue here is that Dobbin still can just play any historic card, tap down the Allosaurus, get in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage because the Serra Disciple also... Actually, is this... No, it's 1 short of lethal. This is currently 11 damage.
What do we got?
It's just going to be an equip. Yep.
We had the trigger there from the Serra Disciple 2 on playing the Jousting Lance. Oh, Ancient Animus here is going to fight that Allosaurus on the Dovnant Trapper. So Kudva saves himself a little bit of life there at 5 currently. Okay,
this is the pivotal turn here. He needs to survive until his next turn so that he can potentially get in with a 7/7 lifelinker.
All right, Spore Crown Thalid. Ooh, a bit of a tongue twister there from Kudva. Just a 2/2 for 2 right now.
So Dobbin needs to find 2 damage here or 2 historic spells.
All right, he has 1 in hand in Urza's Tome. That Triumph of Gerard is going to advance to Chapter 3 next turn, giving that Allosaurus flying, first strike, and lifelink, doing its best impression of Lyra Dawnbringer.
Oh, and Dobbin a little bit in the tank here. He's like, oh no, I can't kill him this turn.
Yeah.
That's 7 lifelink next turn.
I like how sometimes when you're just so close and you know it's impossible, but you still sit there and, oh, have I missed anything?
Yeah, it looks like he does have one historic card, that Tome. That's going to pump the Disciple to a 4-power creature, but he's still going to be 1 short.
There's the Tome. We're going to tap down the Allosaurus.
So because he can't kill this turn, I think there was a little bit of merit to equipping the lance to the Trapper and eating the Spore Crown.
Sure, yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, looks like he's chumping though. Animus there, or not Animus rather, the Arbor Armament there, giving the Spore Crown reach. Of course, the first strike on the Disciple is going to eat it, but...
All right, here we go. Chapter 3, Triumph of Gerard. In swings the Allosaurus, soaring through the skies. It's terrifying when you think about it. Puts Kudva back up to 12, and Jack Dobbin knocks down to 13. Blessed Light in hand, by the way, for Kudva.
Yeah, that one turn, so pivotal.
Close.
And now Kudva is, I think, very much in the driver's seat.
Steel Leaf champion, the follow-up play there for Kudva. Tome activation. Sentinel of the Pearl Trident hits the bin. In bolus clutches here.
Okay.
And we get to tap down the Steel Leaf champion.
All right, so this is a good turn for Jack, but Kudva still has that Blessed Light, which can actually deal with the in bolus's clutches.
Sure.
But that's not going to be good enough anymore because, you know, even if he uses it, the creature is still going to be tapped unless he waits for a turn. But now the flying creature is going to become a problem as it's a 2-turn clock on its own.
Wow, and Kudva has another copy of Arbor Armament in hand.
Okay, so he has enough mana to Blessed Light plus Arbor Armament. In that case, I think he's still favored here, unless Jack has another historic card to tap down the Steel Leaf. Because what's going to happen here is, well, Jack's definitely going to attack with the Flyer at the very least. Allosaurus probably rumbles in. Vikram can Blessed Light the clutches, armament his 5/4, eat the Disciple. Yeah, these last few turns have been so close. It's just Dobbin couldn't find one or two cards to push in those last points of damage.
Crazy, too, to see two Arbor Armaments in the main deck.
And maybe that's a concession to the fact that he's a little bit weak to flyers.
Sure.
He might not have any Pierce the Skies. An Armament is like an okay combat trick. You know, it's not dead all the time like a Pierce would be if your opponent doesn't have a Flyer.
Okay, so the Allosaurus and the Disciple are the two creatures getting in this turn. Arbor Armament here to start things off for Kudva.
And basically things exactly as we lined up here.
Yep. And there's the Blessed Light. Takes care of the clutches. Dinosaur back under Kudva's control.
Bad news for Jack Dobbin now. He actually has to potentially chump if Kudva attacks with both creatures as a 7/7 and a 6-power creature. Well, 7 plus 6 is 13 if I do my quick math.
Okay, Kudva snaps, turns them sideways.
So he would have to have another blocker here or another removal spell because Jack would be able to just chump with the Relic Runner and then equip the 3/2 for lethal, if nothing.
So just the Dinosaur attacking that turn knocks Jack down to 6. Primordial Worm, though, joins the party of beef on Kudva's side of the board.
I think Jack is one short of lethal again. I think he has a Juggernaut in his hand.
Jack!
So Juggernaut gives the Relic Runner unblockable for the turn. Equipping Lance only gives it 4 total power. He's so close. What else can he do here? He can play the Juggernaut.
What if he has an Adamant Will in hand?
Oh, then no, he doesn't have enough mana. So what he can do is he can play the Juggernaut, tap down the 7/6 Worm, equip the Lance to the Trapper, and Kudva would have to chump with the Trapper or rather chump with the now 6/5 because Jack's Trapper would have first strike.
Right, the Steel Leaf champion.
But then Jack wouldn't be able to attack with the Relic Runner. This is scary.
Wow, this has been a very interesting game so far. Very close. Kudva 5 life, Jack Dobbin 6. Trying to do the puzzle and figure out if there's a way he can win this turn. Yes, and it is an Adamant Will in hand along with that Juggernaut.
Oh, it is an Adamant Will. Okay,
Yep.
I thought it was one of the 2/2s, but... Yeah, any way you cut it, it's just 4 damage, though. So I think he has to go with the Juggernaut line, tap down the Worm, equip the Lance to the Trapper, force the Chump.
Oh, he's just going to pass the turn?
Okay, so his game plan here is to Adamant Will instead on the blocker and potentially save a creature.
All right, here we go. Kudva turns everything sideways, just 2 lands in hand.
This is a similar effect. I think he still has to keep the Trapper, though. It's either that or keeping the Relic Runner. Either way, he has to keep a creature that can get in for, well, evasive, right? Because the Trapper, if Jack draws another historic card, can tap down a blocker, or Relic Runner would become unblockable.
Here we go, Adamant Will on the Trapper.
Yep, and this makes sense because he can equip the Lance to the Trapper and make it lethal by itself.
Oh, this has got to be scary, though.
I mean, he has to go for it if he didn't draw a creature, right? It's not worth it just to chump.
All right, here we go. Lance on the Trapper. Swing in. Is it enough? It sure is. All right, we are going to skip ahead to game 3 here. Kudva managed to tie up game 2 with Jack Dobbin. Knight of New Benalia starts things off for Dobbin here versus Voltaic Servant for Kudva.
Yeah, the fact that that was an Adamant Will instead of the Benelish Honor Guard really changed the changed the structure of what I thought he could do there. But I still think attacking with the Trapper and after equipping it with the Lance was a similar line, right?
Right. Okay, well, Knight of New Benalia, no fear here getting in because Triumph of Gerard's got to target something. At least it wants to. Oh, double. Wow, this Voltaic Servant's getting huge.
Yeah, okay.
Live your dream, buddy.
And the Pseudo-Vigilance because it untaps an artifact at the end of Kudva's turn.
Baird Steward of Argive is the other creature in play currently for Jack Dobbin, forcing Kudva to pay to attack.
So that's going to be consecutive turns of a 5-power lifelinker.
All right, so Chapter 3 has already occurred on one of our Triumph of Gerard, so that's a flying lifelinker there, bringing Kudva back up to 19, Jack Dobbin down to 9. Suppose this is one way to do it. Yeah,
Kudva's missing some land drops, though, and it looks like he forgot about his trigger at end of turn there.
Sure
so
did.
Jack's going to get a good hit here for 5, which might not have happened otherwise.
All right, here we go. Chapter 3, once again, into the skies. Remembered at that time. Krosan Druid follow up there, managed to find another land. Jack Dobbin down to 4. Arcane Flight here will send our knight into the air, hitting for 4. Academy Drake follow up, a little 2/2 flyer.
And he's still holding up Adamant Will, it looks like, in his hand.
We have a Mammoth Spider in hand for Kudva, but we also have a Blessed Light.
Okay, that's going to take care of the Baird, which means he can attack without having to pay the tax.
All right, looks like a double block Adamant Will here will save the Drake for Dobbin. Just a Krosan Druid in play now for Kudva. Knight gets in once again, Knight of Grace follow-up.
And I like these attacks by Jack. He's got to apply the pressure before Kudva can hit any of his larger creatures and force chumps.
Krosan Druid swings in. There's that spider.
Brick Wall.
Wow.
Is that a Tempest Djinn in Jack's hand that he can't cast as well?
Well, there's that Dominant Trapper, which managed to get things done in game number 1.
But all of these creatures are lethal, so Jack is going to be forced to do something every time.
Krosan Druid attacks. Steel Leaf Champion Juggernaut there for Kudva. Dumps his hand onto the table. Dobbin at just 2 life. And there's the Djinn. Passes back over, land the draw for Vikram.
Yeah, that was an important turn to draw the island for Jack. Now the Djinn can just trade with the Juggernaut if he wants to. The 4/2 flying knight trades with the 5/4. He does have to make some unfortunate other blocks if he wants to go like that. Okay, so he's just going to opt to trade off the team. And this is fine, right?
Yeah.
Because the spider doesn't attack into the Tempest Djinn. But it looks like an Allosaurus is going to finish that off there for him.
All right, Vikram Kudva able to take down that match 2-1 over Jack Dobbin. So Vikram Kudva will advance to 11-1 here at this tournament. More Magic after this.